And here's the thing.
I think I've heard that the Orville is actually doing a lot better than Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah. Well, I think it was Wynn told us this, that Seth MacFarlane's wanted to do a version of Star Trek for years. Now been given a chance to do it, and he's just having a blast with it.
Yeah, apparently it's been a dream project of his, and from what I understand, you could kind of tell that he's putting his heart into it. Because there are some good McFarlane works out there. The early Family Guy was good. He was amazing as his voice role in Hellboy 2: The Golden Army.
Yes.
Oh, no doubt.
Let's see. When American Dad came out, that was really, really good. He's helped with various cartoon episode writings in the 90s. And,
Larry and Steve.
Yep, and he actually helped write some of the scripts and concepts for the early Johnny Bravo episodes for Van Partible.
Oh,
Wow.
interesting.
I just see that when he's able to work on something different, you could tell that there's passion where everyone kind of expects him to stay on one project and one project only. It's kind of how some of the YouTube scene is. You see a particular YouTube do mostly Let's Plays, for example, like Markiplier.
Uh-huh.
And if Markiplier decided to do something different, you know, their fan base would probably lose their collective shit.
Yeah.
Because how dare you do something different? How dare you do what you want to do? You're supposed to entertain us.
He kind of is doing that now. He's been like doing like a lot of skits lately, like interactive skits with like.
Yeah, because he said he needed a break from game videos and he wanted to do a passion project, and this looks to be the case.
Hmm.
I actually like those videos. They were not bad. It's like, especially the one and date with Markiplier videos. I'm like, this is weird, but this is funny.
And also a reason I... Sorry, Lee.
Okay, go ahead, keep going.
I was going to say, and another reason why I bring this up is because I noticed this when I would kind of keep up on and off with your brother's videos, and everyone else you guys had befriended that I stumbled across in terms of content. I remember when Big Al did a short little video showing off his Usopp cosplay for a convention, people lost their shit because it wasn't a rant video. And I remember that Lily got similar flack when she wasn't doing rant videos. And Random when he wasn't doing his handy dandy guides. It's like, guys, it's their channel.
Exactly.
If they want to do something different to prevent their content from becoming stagnant and refreshing their brain so they have awesome ideas, then you gotta let them do what they want to do. You are not their manager. You are just the audience. If it's not your cup of tea, you can leave and come back later when there's content to your liking.
Yeah, because all I hear is ranting.
There's combat on my channel. This is the first I've heard of it.
Content. As I've warned, I am prone to brain farts, but there's content. These channels have content of the content makers. You are not the content makers. You are just mostly the audience, which is well and good. It's fun to entertain fans, but at the same time, that doesn't mean you own the content creator's soul.
Nope.
Yeah, that's kind of like the same thing that's happening with Team 4-Star. They're trying to do something different. And like everybody's complaining, "Where's DBZ Abridged? Where's this?" I'm like, dude, just.
Yeah, I noticed that with their D&D videos, and they seem like they're
fine with it.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
they
I'm
even.
fine with what they're doing.
Personally, I love it as a D&D nerd.
Yeah, I love that too. like their latest episode where it's like you actually feel bad for some of the characters they created, even though it's like you're seeing them do it. I'm like, oh my god, this is adorable.
Yeah.
Especially when Eli broke his flute. I literally like, no.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the series I watch on and off on the Geek and Sundry YouTube channel, Critical Role, where a group of voice actors do D&D campaigns and voice their characters. And Matthew Mercer's the DM. It's glorious.
Oh, that sounds awesome. I should give that a watch later.
It's funny. You bring up an interesting point, saying to be able to keep it fresh and mix it up. I had someone say to me on Facebook years ago, saying, "Oh, you should only do one type of video because that's how people can come over to your channel." And I said, "What's wrong with keeping it interesting by having being able to do a variety, of whether it be movie reviews, game reviews, or just doing my Q&A videos? Because if one fails and has to go away, because I found this out the hard way when Knight Rider got cancelled in 2009. I thought, I don't have that to fall back on anymore. What do I do now? And I just started looking for different things to try and keep myself entertained, and just went on to that. And he goes, no, 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 you should only do one type of video. And I'm like, okay, I've heard you say this for about 2 weeks straight now. It's not cute anymore. I'm just trying to keep varied, because if you keep it fresh, as Wynn says, you then get to stay, be relevant, and keep yourself interesting. Because if you only do one type of video and then that's gone, what are you going to do?
Be boring.
Well, that could be boring, but doesn't do well for prospects on YouTube. I mean, this is why, one of the reasons I brought Night Watch back, because the 35th anniversary for Knight Rider was coming up, and I just thought, okay, that's something to make content with. Thunderbirds had made its return at that stage, and the only one that's stayed consistent for the last 7 years was my Q&A series, which this Saturday, coming up for 4:30 Eastern time, will be the 200th episode, which I'm actually going to do as a live stream. Because I did that for the first one, but oh good lord, I made such a fuck up with that, because I didn't know how the live streaming setup would work, and people are actually saying in the comment section, why the hell aren't you answering? You do know you're live. And I'm like, fuck. Because I was checking up on stuff on Facebook, and I think it was Prez who actually said, we've been talking in the comment section for 20 minutes. Why aren't you responding? I'm like, damn it. So,
That's so funny.
And that one went on for like the better part of 4 hours, because there were so many questions that people were asking me. And I wanted to do a live stream special for the 150th, but what happened, because here's a little secret that people are probably aware of. A lot of these episodes are actually recorded in batches beforehand. So if somebody happens to ask me a question, say, last Sunday, they're not going to get answered until maybe 2 or 3 episodes down the line, because I've already got all these pre-rendered and pre-scheduled in advance. And it's also one of the reasons I dropped the amount of questions per episode from 7 to 3, because it was getting to a point where nobody was just asking anything. So I thought, right, if I keep it down lower, then the episodes are not going to be as arduous and long as they had been before, and I'm able to just keep my focus and just devote a lot more time to each individual question and what have you. And the other reason Episode 200 is next Saturday rather than Sunday next week is because, well, there's a certain live stream that I do on a Sunday evening that kind of clashes with it, and no, that wasn't going to happen. So it's probably going to be at least a few hours on Saturday evening, my time. But it's a couple of hours I'm prepared to devote to because I must be doing something right after nearly 10 years as a YouTuber, but I care about what my audience and my subscribers think, and I'm still taking questions after 7 years, which Win has had a couple of specials devoted to her. Simply put, she just had a couple of episodes once where it's like, oh, I've got 3 questions from her. Gnarly. I'll go answer them. Um, and Firebird and Duran, they've had multiple specials. I've lost count the amount Duran has had. Great guy though. Met him in person at Knight Rider reunion. He's just a very pleasant, sweet guy. Um, he asked me to take his photo because little thing when we were at the Beverly Garland Hotel where the convention was being held, which is also where quite a few episodes in the first and second season were filmed back in the day. One of the little deals that happened with sponsorship, we were actually sponsored by Hooters.
Hey.
So imagine the look on his face when he asked the Hooter girls if he could have his picture taken with them.
Girls are cute, but I'd rather try the food.
I think I had the option to have my picture taken with them, but I was just a little too bashful that day. I'm like, no, I'm just here for Kat.
Yeah, you're a man of good taste.
That was that's an experience I'll never forget because I even got to meet Peter Paros, who played RC3 from season 4 of Knight Rider, and I can tell you firsthand that man has not aged a day. Because by that point, it had been about 26 years since Knight Rider went off the air, and Peter, by that point, I think he was late 40s. The man looked like he was barely in his late 30s. But that was a pleasure to get to walk up and meet him. Had his autograph, and I even, being the complete fanboy, I said, even I can dig that. He saw the funny side of it. He's like, oh, I see what you did there. Interesting, actually quite a pleasant story as well, because that's when I actually got to have a personal conversation with Mike Chaffee, who designed the original kit, did the dashboard, and had to help in designing the Back to the Future DeLorean. And I say have a hand in help in making it because he's such a humble guy, doesn't take full credit for that. I asked him, had he been the chief designer for the 2008 series, would he have designed the dashboard and the car much more differently? And he said, absolutely yes. And we were at this restaurant that was adjacent to the hotel called Tula's, and me, Duran, Nick, and a couple of others were sat there, and Mike actually came over to our table just for a few moments just to chat with us and just see how we were and see if we were enjoying the evening. I'm like, this guy is part of Hollywood royalty, and he took time for a few moments just to come say hi. That felt like a privilege, and I've said this a few times, in Skype panels. Mike, if you're ever listening to this, it was an honor and a privilege to meet you. There's actually a couple of photos on my personal Facebook where I've actually posed with Mike. My younger 24 years young self was doing cartwheels. I'm like I'm posing for a selfie with Mike Chaffee. The only thing that would have, actually two things that would have made that day perfect. One, if Hasselhoff had been there, because one of his friends there, who is his stunt double for back in the day, was actually trying to get David to come to the event, which would have been great. The other thing that was rumored to be there was the 1989 Batmobile, and I was saying to one of my friends, "No, you're getting out of the way." He's like, "I'm having first dibs on being in that cockpit." No way.
You just like little kids, like my first, me first, me first, me first, me first, me first, me first.
Well, I think I was doing
Yes, I called.
I think I was saying that and a few other irritating things, like, "No way, dude, this is mine." Some of the cars that they had there, they had the BMW from Tomorrow Never Dies, which I thought was a interesting choice for a movie car to be there. And someone had actually done a real life-size replica of the turtle van from the '86 series.
Nice.
That is awesome. I would ride in the back of that. It's like, no, that's mine. I'm going in there.
I think that was. Let me see. I arrived in Los Angeles in October. Well, it would have been October 4 at that stage because the UK was 8 hours ahead, so that was an interesting set of circumstances to be 8 hours behind the UK at that stage, and the event was for Saturday, October 6th. I think the only jacket I packed with me was my leather jacket, which you've probably seen in a couple of videos that I've done. Even around October, around that year, it was still baking hot, and I'm thinking I'm making a mistake wearing this, but it's like, no, it's Knight Rider. I've got to show love the only way I know how with that, and I don't think the heat really bothered us that much that particular day because most of the stuff was in the shade, so that was a saving grace. But definitely an experience I'll never trade for anything. Although the weirdest thing was, because I think this was jet lag, I was actually up walking down Main Street in Los Angeles around 6 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, huh, so this is what dawn feels like. Like, I don't care for it.